जर हवी तुम्हा सुंदर धरा हसरे गगन, ही सृष्टी घालते साद तुम्हा देते स्मरण. जर हवी तुम्हा सुंदर धरा हसरे गगन, ही सृष्टी घालते साद तुम्हा देते स्मरण. ही साद घालती झाडे कामध्ये थांबती वारे, हे पहा संपले पाणी मातीस दुखवले कोणी. ही जीवसृष्टी हा निसर्ग सुंदर मातीची पुण्याई, सांगती उद्याच्या पिढ्या म्हारे जपा जपा हिरवाई. थांबवू चला हे प्रदूषण, लाभू दे जगा संजीवन, या करू जतन वातावरण, रे चला जपू पर्यावरण. आपले पर्यावरण, आपले पर्यावरण, आपले पर्यावरण, आपले पर्यावरण.
नमस्कार मंडळी, मी सुरभी वालावलकर ठोसर. पर्यावरण दक्षता मंडळ आणि एन्व्हायरो व्हिजल यांच्या संयुक्त विद्यमाने सुरू करण्यात आलेल्या ऑनलाईन खुली पर्यावरण शाळा या उपक्रमामध्ये तुम्हा सर्वांचं मनपूर्वक स्वागत करते. आपण सर्व जाणता की पर्यावरण दक्षता मंडळ ही संस्था गेली 26 वर्ष पर्यावरण शिक्षण, संवर्धन आणि जनजागृतीमध्ये कार्यरत आहे. ठाण्यामध्ये आपल्या संस्थेची सुरुवात झाली, परंतु आता डोंबिवली, कल्याण, मुरबाड, टिटवाळा, मुंबई, नवी मुंबई या सर्व भागामध्ये देखील आपली संस्था नवीन नवीन प्रकल्प घेऊन काम करत असते. मागच्या काही एपिसोड्समध्ये आपण निसर्गायन टिटवाळा या प्रकल्पाबद्दल ऐकत आहोत. निसर्गायन टिटवाळा हे आपल्या संस्थेचं एक पर्यावरण शिक्षण, संशोधन आणि पर्यटन केंद्र आहे, जे आपण टिटवाळ्याच्या सिद्धिविनायक गणपती मंदिरासोबत सुरू करत आहोत. त्यांच्या 12 एकर जागेवरती आपण विविध प्रकारच्या गोष्टी एकाच ठिकाणी शाळेतल्या मुलांना पाहण्यासाठी आपण तो प्रकल्प सुरू करत आहोत. तर तिथे एक अट्रॅक्शन म्हणजे सध्या पूर्वीच्या काळी जी पायऱ्यांची विहीर किंवा बारव म्हणतात, तर त्याचं तिथे कन्स्ट्रक्शन पूर्ण झालेलं आहे. आणि तुम्हाला ज्यांना ज्यांना ती बघायची इच्छा असेल ते नक्कीच तिथे भेट देऊ शकतात आणि बारव जी आपण तिथे तयार केलेली आहे ती बघू शकता. डॉक्टर उमेश मुंडले यांच्या मार्गदर्शनाखाली आपण तिथे तयार केलेली आहे. यासोबतच तिथे आपण 8 प्रकारच्या बागा करणार आहोत आणि विविध प्रकारचे म्हणजे ऑर्गॅनिक फार्मिंग असणार आहे. त्यानंतर 1 किलोमीटरचा सायकल ट्रॅक देखील असणार आहे. अशा विविध गोष्टी आपण शाळेतल्या मुलांसाठी सोबतच म्हणजे फॅमिलीसाठी पण आहेत आणि क्लबसाठी पण आहेत. म्हणजे वेगवेगळ्या लोकांसाठी, सगळ्यासाठी, म्हणजे लहान मुलांपासून मोठ्यांपर्यंत सगळ्यांसाठी ते केंद्र खुलं आहे. तर तुम्ही नक्कीच पावसाळ्यामध्ये तिथे भेट देऊ शकता. सोबतच प्लांटेशनसाठी देखील तिथे तुम्ही नक्कीच येऊ शकता. तर सर्वांना नक्कीच इथे येण्याचं आमंत्रण देते. आज अजून एक स्पेशल गोष्ट आहे आजच्या दिवसाची, तो म्हणजे आजचा दिवस जागतिक जैवविविधता दिन किंवा वर्ल्ड बायोडायव्हर्सिटी डे म्हणून साजरा केला जातो. तर त्याचं या वर्षाची थीम जी आहे ती ऍक्टिंग लोकली फॉर ग्लोबल इम्पॅक्ट अशी आहे. तर यामध्ये आपण सर्वांना माहितच आहे की ग्लोबल लेवलला काय सुरू आहे सध्या, स्टेटस कसा आहे. त्यामुळे आपण लोकली काय करू शकतो, म्हणजे आपल्या लेवलवरती आपण बायोडायव्हर्सिटी कन्झर्वेशनसाठी काय करू शकतो. तर याचे काही मार्ग आपण इथे खाली सुचवलेले आहेत. एकतर आपल्या जवळपासची बायोडायव्हर्सिटी आपण ऑब्झर्व करू शकतो. त्यासोबतच वेगवेगळे जे एन्व्हायरमेंटल अवेअरनेस प्रोग्राम्स होतात विविध संस्थांचे, जसं की पर्यावरण दक्षता मंडळ देखील काही अवेअरनेस प्रोग्राम करत असतं. अशा अनेक संस्था आपल्या आसपास असतात. तर त्यांच्या प्रोग्राम्स मध्ये तुम्ही सहभागी होऊ शकता. आपलं जे सराउंडिंग आहे ते ऍटलिस्ट आपण क्लीन ठेवू शकतो. म्हणजे फक्त घरच नाही तर घराभोवतालचा एरिया देखील आपण स्वच्छ ठेवू शकतो. तुमच्या घरातला कचरा हे सगळ्यात महत्वाची स्टेप आहे की ओला आणि सुका कचरा तुम्ही वेगळा करू शकता. प्लास्टिकचा वापर थांबवू शकता. इंडिजिनस प्लांट्स लावू शकता जास्तीत जास्त. आणि सस्टेनेबल हॅबिट्स तुम्ही अंगीकारू शकता. तर यामुळे नक्कीच आपल्या लोकल लेवलला आपण जर या गोष्टी केल्या तर नक्कीच त्याचा इम्पॅक्ट मोठा होऊ शकतो. कारण थेंबे थेंबे तळे साचे म्हणतात, तसं छोटे छोटे एफर्ट्स जर आपण केले तर त्याचा इन जनरल जो परिणाम असतो तो आपल्याला दिसून येतो. तर आपण आता आजच्या सेशनकडे वळूया. आजचा आपला जो विषय आहे तो बायोडायव्हर्सिटी डे स्पेशल आहे. यामध्ये आपण सिक्रेट लाईफ ऑफ बर्ड्स याविषयी जाणून घेणार आहोत. तर पक्ष्यांचं बिहेवियर, कम्युनिकेशन आणि सर्व्हायव्हल याविषयी आपण जाणून घेणार आहोत. तर आजचे आपले जे स्पीकर आहेत त्यांचा मी तुम्हाला थोडक्यात परिचय करून देते. आज आपल्यासोबत आहे शम्स अन्सारी. तर शम्सने मास्टर्स इन बायोडायव्हर्सिटी केलेलं आहे बांदोडकर कॉलेजमधून. 2022 पासून तो नॅचरलिस्ट म्हणून कार्यरत आहे. विविध प्रकारचे नेचर ट्रेल्स, मरीन वॉक्स, बर्ड वॉक्स, त्यासोबतच मॅनग्रोव्ह वॉक्स तो कंडक्ट करतो. त्यानंतर इनोव्हेटिव्ह ट्रेल रूट्स त्यांनी स्वतः डेव्हलप केलेले आहेत आणि यामध्ये तो विविध स्टुडंटसाठी किंवा विविध लोकांसाठी तो यामध्ये म्हणजे ट्रेल्स घेत असतो. त्यानंतर विविध नॅचरलिस्ट आणि ऑर्गनायझेशन सोबत त्याने कोलॅबोरेशन करून एन्व्हायरमेंटल इव्हेंट्स, वर्कशॉप्स आणि गेस्ट लेक्चर्स देखील ऑर्गनाईज केलेले आहेत. त्यानंतर त्याने 2023 मध्ये आय नेचर वॉच फाउंडेशनचं नॅचरलिस्ट ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम हा जो आहे तो कम्प्लीट केलेला आहे आणि वाईल्ड मुंबई नावाची संस्था आहे त्याचा तो फाउंडर आहे. तर आता मी आय वेलकम यू फॉर दिस सेशन आणि मी शम्सला विनंती करते की त्यांनी आपल्या आजच्या सेशनला सुरुवात करावी. आजचा आपला विषय आहे द सिक्रेट लाईफ ऑफ बर्ड्स, बिहेवियर, कम्युनिकेशन अँड सर्व्हायवल. ओव्हर टू यू शम्स.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for a lovely introduction. I would like to share my screen first, and just a minute. Just let me know if you can see the screen
Yes, it is visible.
and if I am audible.
Yes.
Thank you. So today's topic is that secret life of birds, right? Before looking at what the secret life of birds is, let's look at what birds are actually. So if you can write a message in the chat box, or if you can raise your hand to speak, just let us know what do you think of a bird, and what comes to mind when you think of a bird. Certain birds come to mind or anything else. क्या आपको लगता है कि bird एक क्या चीज़ है? bird एक छोटा सा definition if you know, or whatever you know about birds, please let us know, and then we'll see what is your understanding of a bird, and then what is the textbook definition of a bird. bird होता क्या है, उसके बाद हम लोग आगे बढ़ के we'll see the secret life of birds, right? So if you can type in, or if you can just raise your hands and we will allow you to speak. You can speak or you can type in.
Some of the people have replied in the chat box. Rohit Joshi said freedom.
Nice.
Then Ullas sir said a flying creature with 2 wings.
Okay. Anyone else?
You can unmute yourself and reply.
Yeah, please.
Masterpiece of evolution.
Great. Has anyone said dinosaurs yet?
No. Beautiful feathered friends, carriers of biodiversity.
Great. So let me tell you what the textbook definition of the bird is. We call it a feathered biped, which means it has feathers, and it is a biped, which means it has 2 legs, right? And this definition was first given by Socrates. So you can call him Socrates or Socrates, depending on what you call him. And there is a very good lore behind this, that he called birds the feathered bipeds. That means those creatures that walk on 2 legs and have feathers. And he called humans that we are non-feathered bipeds. So very close definition of a bird with a human. And then Plato was also around there. Plato ne kya kiya? He took a chicken, took out all the feathers, and went to Socrates' academy and told him that, see, according to you, this is a man because it does not have feathers and it has 2 legs. So he changed the human definition a bit, and he called humans as featherless bipeds with flat nails. So this is a small lore of how we and birds are very close together when we talk about how to define a bird and how to define a human. So a feathered biped is called a bird. Now, why study birds? What is the need to study birds? Can you tell? Anyone? So first of all, हमारी सभ्यता जितनी पुरानी है, when we started planting trees, when we started cultivation and started culture, since then if you can look at the Mayan civilization or the Egyptian civilization, they have alphabets which are into shapes of birds, they have gods that are into like shape of birds. In Hinduism we have Garuda, in Islam also we have Ababil, which is a swallow. So in American folklore there is the phoenix. So a lot of cultures and a lot of beliefs, they are centered around birds, which means that humans have been observing birds since the dawn of time. So a very interesting thing that humans were still bird watchers when civilization began, and we are still bird watchers now. That is the cultural impact that birds have on us. Ecologically speaking, they are pollinators of crops like apples and berries, a lot of berries, a lot of fruits. So we for sure will not get many fruits and many crops if birds are not pollinating them. So that becomes an ecological impact as well, and an economic value as well, because without these birds we will not get to eat, right? So that is why studying birds is very important. When we study birds, we see the signs that the birds give. Let's look at the next slide and we'll talk about it. So the birds are constantly talking. That does not mean that they are chattering. They are constantly giving us signs, okay? But we rarely notice them. Only a few bird watchers or scientists, they can decipher that what the birds are telling us. So based on their sound, calls, alarm sounds, when they start calling in the morning, when are they ending their song in the evening, and based on the colors, if they are brightly colored, if the colors are fading. In case of flamingos, you can see that nowadays we see a lot of flamingos that are not pink, right? So we'll talk about it going ahead in the talk. And then of course movement, whether the birds are present, whether the birds are not present, whether they are present in huge numbers or small numbers, they constantly keeps giving us signs that the environment is good or not, it is healthy or not, right? So let us look at some of these signs. Next slide. Okay. So recent studies have revealed that some birds that live in urban areas, when suppose the bird is living near a train station, whenever a train comes, the train honks, there is a very loud sound when the train plies on the tracks. These birds stop singing, and then when they stop singing, the train moves away. When there is silence again, then they start singing again, because they know that they cannot go loud enough to be heard in the noise of that train or in the traffic as well. So a recent study, I guess just past year or 2 years ago, this was published. So birds that are living in urban environments, they are under pressure. They have to change their strategies, when they have to sing, when they do not have to sing, how loud they can sing, or how high pitched or low pitched they can sing, so that they are visible to other, audible to other birds, or and then behavioral change as well. A very good study that was published recently is that falcons, particularly peregrine falcons, they earlier used to hunt when it was dusk, so right around sunset. But now what they are doing is they are hunting after sunset. Why is that? Because a lot of birds like these swift swallows and a lot of birds that are migrating, they actually use the skies in the night, okay? And in the night, when after the sunset they are flying, the peregrine falcons flies even above that, very high, and they can see easily, because of the light pollution beneath, that where the birds are flying, and these birds, they cannot see where the peregrine falcons are coming from. So it has become easier for peregrine falcons to hunt during or after sunset, where earlier it was used to hunting near sunset, not in the very harsh daytime, but when the sun was setting. but now this has changed and they are now hunting after sunset. Similarly, very good example of urban pressure, how it changes some birds, is the pigeons, the rock doves that we see. Now, what do you think? Before cities were here, where were these rock pigeons living? Anyone can put this in your chat boxes. जब पिजन्स सिटी में नहीं रह रहे थे तो कहाँ रह रहे थे? Cities are a very new thing on earth, you know. पिछले 50 या 100 सालों में इतनी बड़ी बड़ी सिटीज़ यहाँ पर है जिसमें इतनी बड़ी बड़ी बिल्डिंग्स वगैरह हैं. Before that, where were the pigeons living? Caves, okay. Rural areas, okay. I'll tell you, they were living on cliffs. They are called rock doves. So huge mountains, in those mountains they have cracks, and in these cracks they used to build their nests. But now, after so many cities have boomed up, we have so many high-rise buildings, and on these buildings we have very short ledges, cracks, holes. In these cracks they build their nest. Have you ever seen a pigeon nest on a tree? A rock dove nest on a tree? Very few of them might use trees, but not rock doves. Rock doves, they only make their nest on concrete or in the crevices in rocks or somewhere. They will never make a nest in a tree. So they have got a very good habitat, you can say. Instead of the rocks, they are using the buildings as their abode for making nests, and they are also getting a lot of food to eat. That is why the boom in populations. It is very recent when we talk about hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. It is very recent, and evolution on its own will not be able to cope up so fast in just 50 years. It is only because of behavioral change that the pigeons have adopted the city life, and they are now so you can say successful in adapting to the life in cities. Now survival based on what are the migrating patterns and all. As earlier said, these birds, they migrate during the night. See, whenever we see the flamingos or we see sandpipers and other herons that are migratory, when they come to Mumbai or they come to any other area, have you ever seen them landing in daytime? They will always fly in the nights. All the ducks that come from the northern hemisphere, they always fly in the night. Because why? In the day the sun is very harsh, it will take longer, or it will take more of their energy to fly in the harsh sun, so they avoid the sun. And in the night they also have stars for their help, so they can see where the stars are positioned and they remember it, and then they use these stars as their anchor points. In the day there is just one anchor point, or at the most there will be two, sun and the moon. But in the night there are so many anchor points in the sky, so many major stars that they can remember, and based on that they can decide where to go. So they are used to flying in the night. But now, due to pollution, mainly light pollution, what happens is they are not able to fly in the night, because of light pollution they cannot see as many stars as they saw earlier. And now in these last 50 years, a lot of vagrants, hope you understand the term vagrants. Vagrant is a term that suppose one bird is very common in some place, it comes all the time in every season, every breeding season or every wintering season. But nowadays what happens is they forget where they were going, and they go in some other areas, and they end up in areas where they are not common, and these birds are called vagrants. So a lot of cases of vagrants are also increasing now because of light pollution. For us in cities, light pollution is not a big problem, but for the birds it is quite a big problem. So as written in the last line, behavior changes faster than evolution. That is why we can see some birds that adapt so fast because of their behavior and they become successful, while others, they would not be able to catch up so fast, and many species are going towards extinction. Now let's look at some strategies that some birds use. We have very good examples from Mumbai only here: coppersmith barbet and purple sunbird. Those who remember or those who know how the coppersmith barbet sounds, it is a repetitive tuk 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 call, right? And it announces its territory. In the urban environment, it helps it a lot because other birds can easily guess, other coppersmith barbets as well and other species as well, that coppersmith barbet is calling. Even for us humans, it is very easy to identify that a coppersmith barbet is calling, despite so many sounds, so many noise being around, right? So that is the strategy that the coppersmith barbet uses in urban areas as well as rural areas, where it gives repetitive territorial calls. Whereas the sunbird, not just the purple sunbird but others as well, they use colors as their you can say communication strategy. So they have bright colors, and they are very very active during the day. They are always visible in the daytime as well. So the other purple sunbirds or the females of the species, they get to see them very easily, right? But seeing coppersmith barbets is not very easy, but hearing them is very easy. Whereas in case of sunbirds, it is very easy to spot a sunbird, right? So these are two strategies that you can see. One is very loud and one is very visual. One more thing is that these changes that we just talked about, these we can also see in these birds as well. So coppersmith barbets have become, they have to go at a higher pitch, or they have to become more, the metronome has to be faster. So the distance between each notes has to be less. Oh, nice. So Ulhas is saying that he's surprised to see hundreds of mynas staying on railway platform roof beams at night in Bharuch. I'll come to this. Mynas are starlings, so we'll come to the strategies that starlings use as well in the next slide. Earlier dawn singing is a very good example. A lot of birds now in urban areas mostly, you will see the magpie robin or the fantail flycatcher. They start singing at 3 a.m. in the morning, because they know this is the time where it is very silent. In the morning it will become very noisy. So they have started giving their calls very early in the morning, especially during the breeding season, which is now actually. So you'll see, you'll hear a lot of magpie robins singing at 3-4 a.m. in the morning. In case of parentings also, we can see a lot of different strategies. Now these examples are again very opposite of each other. One is the hornbills. Okay, so the hornbills, they are like very, they use a strategy that is very secure. The females go into the nest, and the male helps in covering the nest all the way, and just a slight slit is remaining from where the male can put in the food for female and the chicks. Whereas sunbirds and many other small birds like the tailor birds nest is not very visible, but actually they are very close to human habitation and on the ground level only. Just like the sunbirds, they are making the nest on the ground, like very close to the ground or very close to human habitation. When I was there in Karnataka for my dissertation, I studied sunbirds for a bit, like about 2 months, and what I saw was sunbirds were making their nest right next to cabins on the roadside, like vehicles are going all the way from, like it's like a highway, and the sunbird is making the nest right next to the highway. And a lot of people have told me that in their balcony as well, or very close to their balcony, sunbirds have been making their nest. So one is very exposed nest. The female sits on the nest, the female is always around the nest, and the male is sitting somewhere high up there and guarding the nest. If some other male comes near the nest, he will guard it. In case of hornbills, it is total opposite. The female and the chicks stay inside the nest like for a very long time, and only the male does all the work. And in case of sunbirds, we see opposite, that the male sits and guards. If it only comes in the middle when something bad happens to the nest or the female or the chicks. Otherwise it is just sitting there guarding, and all the work is done by female. Now what is the downside of this? In case of the hornbills, if the male dies, the female and the chicks will die as well. And in case of sunbirds, because they are so close to human habitation, this happened right before my eye. One day I was going to the nest, which was quite close to the highway, and the highway people that manage the highway, they were clearing off all the weeds, and they cleared off all the grass on which the sunbird was having its nest, and the eggs and the nest was all lying around on the road, and it was destroyed. I think it was just a matter of days, 2 or 3 days more, and the eggs might have hatched. But because of this risk of being so close to humans, it got destroyed. Yeah, urban nesting, you see where the nest is built here, in the R of pharmacy. So now in urban birds, what we see is they are very creative in terms of nesting. There is a Reddit subreddit, you can say, where if you use Reddit, stupid pigeon nests. So I have got this image from that. So if you use Reddit, you can look up, and there will be a lot of nests where pigeons have been building nests in and around buildings, and they are using minimal materials. If there is a green carpet or something, they'll just place their egg on it. They'll not bother in putting up any stick or anything, and then just lay the egg. And of course in crows and in mynas as well, my friend was into researching about nest materials, and she said to me that the nesting materials that mynas use in the city are very different than the nesting materials used by mynas in the rural areas. In cities we see wires, we see threads, we see this thing, very plastics and whatnot, and in the rural areas obviously there will be just hay and twigs and leaves. So recycled nest materials are being used by urban birds, and then breeding timings are also alternated now. Earlier the sunbirds, they used to breed in a specific period of time in the year, which is this season, you can say from March to May, June. But now we have seen nests in November as well, so they are now nesting year round. Similar case with the pigeons. The pigeons, they can lay their eggs any time of the year. Do you think it was the case earlier? I don't think so. So a lot of birds are now altering their breeding times as well. Increased parental vigilance. Now because they are living in an urban environment, the male or the female, whoever is catering to the nest, they have to have, they are like very close by to the nest all the time, so to guard the nest, because they cannot leave the nest alone, because obviously we are living in a urban environment. Specialists versus opportunists. This is mostly in case of feeding. So the flamingos, as you might know, they feed only on the algae or cyanobacteria in the algae. So the lesser flamingos, they almost exclusively feed on just one thing, which is cyanobacteria, which is found in the algae that grows on the mud flats or in the water as well. Whereas house crows, whatever they can find, they can eat it. Right now we have a photo of house crows eating, what is it? French fries. So these are feeding strategies that a lot of birds are using, right? So starlings, as someone pointed out, they are always found in huge numbers. All the murmuration videos that we see, Sairat वगैरह में देखा है, a lot of these murmurations are done by starlings, mostly rosy starlings. Whereas the snipes, now the snipes also has something else up the sleeves, The snipes, mostly in other birds, what we see is the males are brightly colored and the females are dull colored, right? But in snipes, it is a ulta thing. The females are very bright in color. All the breeding plumage colors that you see in snipes, they are mostly the females. the longer billed ones are also females. The males have shorter bills. Why is that? Because the roles are reversed in snipes. So the males will cater to the eggs, they will stay close to the eggs, and they will sit on the eggs and do all the things that usually we see females doing. So they are very dull colored and they always stay near the nest. Whereas the females, they are very brightly colored, they have a longer beak, they look like one might see them and say that this is a male bird, but it is actually a female bird in case of the snipes. And they are very solitary. You will almost exclusively see that the snipes, they are mostly alone. You will not see them in huge groups. So the survival strategy of the snipes is to stay hidden, and whereas in case of flamingos or in case of pigeons or in case of starlings, they prefer staying in huge numbers. Huge numbers are visible, there is a lot of chaos going on. The predator is finding hard to decide which exact individual to strike on. So that is the strategy which is used by these colony nesters or colony roosters, whereas the snipes and other birds which are mostly coastal, they stay hidden. Very interesting topic is bird intelligence now. House crows and many other crows, we know that they are very intelligent birds, as intelligent as a 7-year-old kid, they say, right? They can recognize human faces and they can talk to other crows and tell them that how a person that disturbed them looks like. And when they see you, they will immediately get, okay, that crow was talking about this guy, we have to stay away from this person. And this can go on till generations. So up to 5-7 generations of those crows, all the crows in that area will know if you harassed a crow once. Just a minute, we have 2 chats. Yeah, please post your questions. And in case of drongos, very interesting, a lot of drongo species we have in India. The black drongo, the ashy drongo, the greater racket-tailed drongo, the lesser racket-tailed drongo, bronze drongo, spangled drongo, a lot of drongos are there. And they all are good at one thing, which is mimicking. In case of Mumbai, you will see mostly ashy and black drongos. They are very good at mimicking the sound of shikra. Now shikra is a bird that hunts other birds, hunts lizards and all, and these smaller birds are afraid of the shikra because it is like a sparrowhawk. These drongos are very good at mimicking the shikras, and where they are living in farms or places where there are cats or small kids around, they can easily mimic the cat sounds as well, and sometimes even a baby crying. So they are very good mimics, and what they do with the mimics is that they sit on a perch and they just wait for other birds to find food. And as soon as the bird finds food, it will start making sound of a shikra or a cat, so that the bird is afraid and it flies off. And this drongos then goes and steals the food. Very easy strategy for the drongo because it has a very nice trick up its sleeve, which is mimicking the sound of other birds. Flamingos are having very complex social structures. We see the flamingos right now which are dancing in the mudflats of Mumbai. You will be surprised to know, I guess, because they do not breed here. If they are not breeding here, why are they dancing here? You know why? Because they are practicing the dance. So now when it will start raining, they will go in Kutch, Gujarat, and they will do the main performance in Kutch. Right now the rehearsals are going on in the mudflats of Mumbai. So they have a very complex social structure where they help each other in perfecting the march that they do. And one more thing is that the males, females, juveniles, they will all do this dance together to be able to practice together. So the young ones also learn. The females also are dancing in the crowd. The males are also in the crowd, and they have some social structure that we are not aware of yet. Why the males and females both dance, we do not know. And the practice the practice is going on. We can go on this Sunday and we can see. Even Saturday, tomorrow is a good day to see the flamingos. So you can see the practice dance in the DPS lake or the NRI complex lake, and I think even near T.S. Chanakya, if you know T.S. Chanakya creek side, you can see the flamingos dancing. The sunbird, again, sunbirds are so small and tiny, but they have different plumages based on the age of the bird, you can say. So the male looks like the female when it is young. It goes into the eclipse plumage, and from the eclipse plumage it goes into the breeding plumage. This this transition helps in retaining some energy. So in the breeding plumage, what happens is the colors have to be brighter, more pigment has to be put in the feathers, so it has to eat more. But in the non-breeding season, it does not have to do that, so it has to save that energy. So what it does, it grows new feathers which are very dull or like female like looking in the colors. So that is how they save on energy. Strange survival strategies. How can we forget the Asian quail and all other cuckoos as well? So a lot of cuckoos are brood parasite, and brood parasitism means that they lay their egg in the other bird's nest. In case of the Asian quail, they lay their egg in the nest of the house crows. What happens because of this is that the house crow population is under control, right? And the quail, it does not have to look after the egg. But the downside is that in one nesting period, the quail only has one chick which will grow in the other bird's nest. So what happens is the male that you hear singing a lot and this time of the year, they distract the crows, and when they crows, they rush to shoo them away. The females comes and it lays the eggs in the crow's nest and quietly takes off one egg away as well, so that when the crows come, it cannot see that there is an increased egg, and the colors are also very similar to the crow's egg. But sometime what happens is the crows can guess that okay, this egg is new, this is not mine, and they can throw away the quail's egg as well. But they do not do it most of the times. You know why? Because we have a concept called mafia hypothesis. So the quails are like the mafias. If they see that the crow has thrown out the quail's egg, it will destroy the other eggs of the crow as well. The whole nest will be destroyed, like mafias. So the crow, despite knowing that this chick is not mine, sometime has to comply because it has 3 or 4 other eggs that he has to raise. The crow has to raise. So it has to take on that decision that either to let go of all the eggs or quietly raise one chick of the quail, and in return get all the other chicks that is their own to survive. Black drongo we already talked about. Baya weaver, we most of them already know that they make these nests that we can see here. Now what happens is a lot of people think that the Baya weaver males make the nest and the female comes and they inspect the nest, how beautiful it is and whatnot, and then they select the male. It is not like that. So the structure of the nest has nothing to do with the selection process. There will be one tree which is hanging over some water body, and the male has to select the best possible place on that tree to be able to attract the female. The female comes, sits on the nest and looks around the nest, not inside the nest, to see if this location is the best or not, and just based on the location they select if they have to mate with that male or not. And the males, to be able to get the female, makes 5 or 6 nests, and about 50% nest is complete. The female comes, inspects the nest, and if one female likes one of the nest, then the male and female together will complete the rest of the nest. If another female also comes and likes some other nest that the male has built, then the male will keep that female as well. So there will be sometimes one male having 5-6 nests and 5-6 females in those nests on the same tree living together. What will happen when we ignore all this? we already know, right? It is already happening in our city, in our country, all over the world as well. Wetlands will disappear. We have seen mangroves being cut off. Like the war is still going on between environmentalists and the authorities over uh, the mangroves in the western part of Mumbai. Then, when the old trees are felled, the hornbills and the cavity nesters, then a lot of birds that are dependent on that tree for food, for nectaring birds like sunbirds, the flowers are gone, the frugivorous birds, the fruits are gone, and the birds that are nesting on the tree, the nest is gone. And this is just about the birds. There are countless other species that depend on the same tree, a lot of insects and a lot of other creatures as well, right? Then gardens. We all love to see these kinds of gardens, don't we? Very plain and simple lawns, only grass there, so that we can play golf, or we can you can go there without any insects biting you. But these are very harmful for our environment. In place of this, we can plant so many indigenous trees, flowering plants, and we can make a butterfly garden, we can make a bird garden, and attract a lot of insects, a lot of butterflies, and provide a habitat for them. But a lot of such green spaces, especially in high-rise buildings, in golf courses, are being wasted in just growing these lawns. And there is also one more thing which is very bad. These lawns take a lot of water. If we just plant other trees which are indigenous, we will not use as much water as these lawns use. Now, might be controversial, but not just golf courses, but cricket pitches also use these lawns, and they are also taking up a lot of water. And then, of course, garbage, the situation we already know, right? Mumbai, you can say Mumbai is a special case. In all the major cities all over the world, almost all biodiversity is already gone. But in our Mumbai, we have a lot of bird diversity. More than 450 birds can be seen in Mumbai. We have the Sanjay Gandhi National Park, which is like the only national park which is situated inside a city. Then we have the Flamingo Sanctuary, which is in the Thane Creek. So 2 or 3, I guess, Tungareshwar if we count. So 2 or 3 protected places. If we can count RA as well, then it becomes 4 protected places inside the city. So that makes the Mumbai city a very special place. But again, it is all going to waste, because the BMC has planned a lot of zones. They have divided the SGNP into 3 zones, and then the outermost zone can be used for construction and all. And slowly and steadily it is all creeping up, and the land area which is useful for wildlife, it is reducing. So we have to we have this very special city, which is, I guess, unique city in the whole world, which we have to conserve. And for that, knowing about all these birds that we have in our city is very important, and that is why this session was held. Thank you. This is the secret life of birds in Mumbai. Now on to the questions. I have 6 chats. Is there any scientific study, intelligence, memory mechanisms? Yeah, a lot of scientific studies are there. So to get to them, there is a very easy way. Just go on Google and type Scholar and hit enter. The first link that you see, it will be Google Scholar, and there you can just type in crow intelligence and type enter again, and then similar to how we see search results on our casual normal Google page, you will see research paper results in Google Scholar. So a lot of studies you can find on crow research, on crow intelligence. Bioviewer, but we have seen these birds build their nest on the same tree for years. Many of them are half constructed, abandoned. Yes. So you have not mentioned anything about house sparrow. Okay, I will. So the bioviewers, as I told, that they make half the nest and then they wait for the females to come in. and check the location of the nest, and then female decides if it is good or not, and then only if the female decides, the male and female will build it together. Otherwise the nest is abandoned. And yes, because the female decides on the location of the nest, if the male finds out that okay, this location is very good for the nest and the female likes this location, it will keep making the nest throughout other years as well in the same location. House sparrow and bulbuls, right? So house sparrow, there is a interesting study going on. It is not yet published, which says that house sparrows that we see, the decline in house sparrows in some months of the year, they are actually migrating. So they have tagged some of the house sparrows and they have seen that they cross all the Himalayas and go to places like Tibet and Kazakhstan. Not Tibet much, but Kazakhstan, Afghanistan, in these areas. So they go there, and that is when we see a drop in the sparrow populations here, and then they come back again as well. Bulbuls are again frugivorous birds which are indigenous to India, so there is no problem with them. The population is very good, but there was some pet trade going on with bulbuls. So a lot of bulbuls were transported to Australia, Vietnam, and such places. There they are a menace. So there they have been declared as pests, and there they have been allowed to hunt them, because there they destroy all the fruit farms, berry farms and all. Can nesting pattern, height and time can help to predict rain? Which birds? So one bird particularly is called the harbinger of monsoon, which is the Jacobian cuckoo, right? So we usually, because it is a monsoon, you can say migrant, so just when the monsoon is approaching, you will start seeing this bird. Then one more thing is flamingos. The flamingos usually come during winters, and they stay all the way in the summers, and they start leaving when the rains are predicted. So if suppose the flamingo populations drop suddenly in Mumbai again now in the coming weeks, then we can say for sure that the rains will come. And also some birds are prediction of winters can be done through some birds, especially this one, black-winged stilt, the yellow wagtail. These are all winter migrants, and these are the first two birds that arrive in winter. So even before winter starts, they arrive in, you can say, October. So if there is any delay in their arrival, we can say that the winters will be delayed as well, or the rains will be delayed as well. It will keep raining, right? So yeah, that. How many birds are active even after 8 p.m.? Is there any change like this observed and studied? So after 8 p.m. obviously there are birds that are active in the night, which are owls. But apart from owls, especially near chicken shops, near meat shops, you will see birds that are active in the night as well, if they have not got to eat in the daytime. So those, and then all the species that are tidal affected, which means the shorebirds, flamingos and other ducks, and red shanks, and all the sandpipers and sandplovers, because their activity depends on the tides. If there is a high tide in night, in 8 p.m., 12 p.m., 12 a.m., 1 or 2 in the night, you will be able to see them on lakes which are inland, because they are avoiding the high tide in the creek. So they are also active. And all the birds that migrate, even for short distances, they mostly use the night to migrate. So in the night you will also sometimes get to see some birds that are migrating. Is it that main reason of decline in sparrow number is because of unavailability? Yes, unavailability of nesting places. So earlier we have to have these kavelu type of houses and a lot of holes in the houses. We have to have these slits on the top of the houses, like the doors and windows. So there will be a door which is hinged, wooden door which will open and close. Just a minute. The mic fell off. Yeah, so the earlier doors and windows, they had a slit above. We call it divan, I guess. So some divan or something else, I don't remember. So in these spaces, and also in rural houses, it was mud house. So in these spaces, they used to nest because they also need some, cavity or some holes in the buildings. So right now we have buildings which are full concrete and full air conditions inside, so we do not have these holes coming out of houses for ventilation. So the nesting places of the sparrows are declining in the urban areas as well. But still, if there are some old buildings or there are some places where nesting can be provided, you will see good number of sparrows. In Navi Mumbai I have seen a lot of sparrows, but in Mumbai I have seen very less sparrows. Even in Thane there are very less sparrows. So that is that. Any other questions? You can also unmute yourself and ask the questions directly if you cannot type. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sams. It was really amazing lecture, very informative, and I know that all the participants really loved your lecture, and we would definitely love to join you for a nature trail. So just let us know
Sure,
when
sure.
you're planning for a trail. So we would definitely like to join. And
Sure, sure.
yeah, and if anybody has any more questions, you can post it in our online Paryavaran Shala WhatsApp group so that we can discuss more on that. Just one comment is there, or just
Yeah,
one
yeah, sparrows.
question is there. Yeah, sparrows.
So, yeah, sparrows do migrate long distances based on what studies are coming up now. I don't think it is published yet, so we cannot say for sure. But as soon as it is published, it will be, you can say, stamp that yes, they do migrate. But right now, we can say it is a developing theory, we can say. But I have seen the graphs, I have seen the migration route myself on my friend's laptop. So yeah, they do migrate, but the publication is still not out. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Once again, I would like to thank Shams for this wonderful session. And now we have some announcements. We will move to that. पर्यावरण दक्षता मंडळाच्या ग्रीन शॉपी प्रकल्पाबद्दल आपल्या सर्वांना माहीत आहेच. तर आपला ग्रीन शॉपी इथे स्टॉक क्लिअरन्स सेल सध्या सुरू आहे. ग्रीन शॉपीचं ऑफिस जे आहे ते स्टेडियम दादोजी कोंडदेव स्टेडियममध्ये गाळा नंबर 15 यामध्ये 18 तारखेपासून आपला स्टॉक क्लिअरन्स सेल सुरू झाला आहे. 18 मे ते 31 मे तिकडे तुम्हाला विविध प्रकारचे इको फ्रेंडली प्रोडक्ट्स जे आपल्या ग्रीन शॉपीमध्ये आहेत ते म्हणजे सेल प्राइसला तुम्हाला तिथे मिळू शकतील. तर तुम्ही नक्कीच तिथे येऊन आपला जे प्रोडक्ट्स आहेत ते तुम्ही नक्की पाहू शकता. त्यानंतर 24 तारखेला आपल्या इथे एक निसर्ग उन्नत मार्ग जिथे मलबार हिल फॉरेस्ट वॉकवे इथे आपला नेचर ट्रेल होणार आहे, जो 24 तारखेला सकाळी 7:30ला होणार आहे. तर ज्यांना ज्यांना यामध्ये यायची इच्छा असेल त्यांनी खाली दिलेल्या क्रमांकावरती संपर्क साधावा. ह्याचं जे पोस्टर आहे ते मी आपल्या ग्रुपवरती शेअर करेन, जेणेकरून तुम्हाला त्या ट्रेलसाठी येता येऊ शकतं. त्यानंतर दुसरा ट्रेल त्याच्यानंतरच आपला आहे, जो म्हणजे त्याच दिवशी होणार आहे, जो O2 गार्डन मध्ये होणार आहे ठाण्यामध्ये. तर तो 24 मेला 7 ते 9 या वेळेमध्ये होणार आहे. तर तिथे सुद्धा आपण तिकडची लोकल बायोडायव्हर्सिटी जाणून घेणार आहोत. त्यामध्ये बर्ड्स, बटरफ्लाय जे सगळं आपण तिथे ऑब्झर्व करणार आहोत. तर ज्यांना यासाठी यायची इच्छा असेल त्यांनी देखील या नंबरवर संपर्क साधावा. तर हे दोन्ही पोस्टर्स मी आपल्या ग्रुपवरती शेअर करत आहे. आणि आपलं पुढचं जे सेशन आहे, म्हणजे आपला आता आजचा जो एपिसोड होता तो 115वा एपिसोड होता. त्याच्या पुढचा एपिसोड आपला 116वा आहे. त्याचं विषय आपला आहे गोष्ट मसाई माराची, म्हणजे मसाई मारामधले जे एक्सपिरियन्सेस आहेत तिकडचे वाईल्ड लाईफ आणि याबद्दल आपल्याला डॉक्टर निलिमा कुलकर्णी मॅडम मार्गदर्शन करणार आहेत. तर पुढच्या एपिसोडला देखील सर्वांनी नक्कीच उपस्थित राहावं. पुढचा आपला 29 मेला 4 ते 5 या वेळेमध्ये आपलं सेशन होणार आहे. तर सर्वांनी नक्कीच त्यासाठी उपस्थित राहू शकता. आणि नक्कीच आपले जे नेचर ट्रेल्स आहेत त्याला देखील तुम्ही येऊ शकता. आणि आपलं जे मगाशी मी सुरुवातीला उल्लेख केल्याप्रमाणे आपलं निसर्गायणचं जे केंद्र आहे, निसर्गायण टिटवाळा, ते देखील सर्वांसाठी ओपन आहे. तर नक्कीच तुम्ही तिथे देखील भेट देऊ शकता. ज्यांना ज्यांना पुढचे एपिसोड्स आपले अटेंड करायचे असतील त्यांनी ऑनलाईन पर्यावरण शाळा हा ग्रुप जॉईन करावा, जेणेकरून तुम्हाला त्याच्यामध्ये पुढच्या एपिसोड्स विषयी माहिती मिळत राहील आणि सर्वांना नक्कीच त्याचा आनंद घेता येईल. पुन्हा एकदा मी आपले आजचे स्पीकर आहेत त्यांचे मनपूर्वक आभार मानते आणि आजचं सेशन इथेच संपवतोय आणि पुढच्या सेशनमध्ये आपण पुन्हा भेटूया 29 मेला. तोपर्यंत धन्यवाद.